I'm standing in the middle of a family feud, my heart racing as I stare at my phone, the words on the screen cutting deep. My mother-in-law has just pulled the plug on our family vacation, and I'm fuming. Let me take a step back and explain how we got here. My husband and I have always tried to be understanding and accommodating when it comes to family gatherings. His mother, my mother-in-law, has always been a bit of a planner, and we've learned to just go with the flow. But this time, things were different. She had been pushing for a 7-day family cruise, and we had made it clear that we weren't interested in the Canada/New England itinerary she had chosen. We had suggested a Disney cruise to the Bahamas, but she had shot that idea down, saying it was too expensive. As the days went by, my mother-in-law continued to send us itineraries for the Canada trip, despite our repeated objections. We tried to explain to her that we just weren't excited about it, but she wouldn't listen. And then, the bombshell dropped. She texted us that she had gone ahead and booked the Canada cruise, saying, "I know this isn't what you guys wanted, but the year after we can do something more exciting," and even threw in a mention of a potential Alaska cruise in 2028. I was furious, feeling like our opinions didn't matter at all. I didn't respond right away, but when I did, I told her that it seemed like our opinions didn't count for much. She fired back with a defensive paragraph about how they were paying for the whole family, and that this trip was about getting everyone together, not about the location. It was clear she was trying to make me look ungrateful, but I wasn't having it. I pointed out that the last family vacation we had been on hadn't been enjoyable for anyone, and she blamed it on the fact that my husband's brother's family had been there too. The conversation was going nowhere, and I found myself responding with a flippant comment about drink packages just to lighten the mood. But the drama was far from over. A few days later, my mother-in-law started a group chat with my husband, me, his brother, and his wife, saying that it was too hard to find a place and activity that everyone would enjoy, so they were just going to cancel the whole thing. My husband and I immediately assumed that his brother and his wife must have complained, given that when we had expressed our own concerns, we were told to just suck it up for the sake of the family. But it turned out that the real issue was that their young son would be too young to enjoy the activities on the bigger boats, and they were looking for an alternative. And that's when things started to get really interesting. My husband's brother suggested doing something in North Carolina instead, which was hilarious to us, given that they are absolutely obsessed with the state. They had gotten married there, named their dog after a county there, and were always trying to convince us to buy a house there. My husband immediately shot down the idea, saying he was already in North Carolina every week for work and didn't want a vacation there too. My mother-in-law then asked what they would do in North Carolina, since my father-in-law didn't want to just sit around and watch TV. My husband and I were cracking up at this point, and the conversation just kept getting more and more absurd. My husband jokingly suggested doing a river cruise, and my sister-in-law chimed in again, saying that their son would be too young to enjoy a cruise and that we should just go without them. I was feeling a bit petty at this point, so I replied that I thought the whole point of this trip was to get the family together, and that we had already planned other vacations. My mother-in-law then launched into a long pitch about how great the original New England/Canada trip would be, talking about how no one would have to cook or clean, and how she and my father-in-law would be built-in babysitters. But my sister-in-law just kept repeating that her son would be too young to enjoy the history of Quebec City, and that there wouldn't be any activities for him. I was getting frustrated at this point, wondering what kind of activities a 2-year-old even needs. Can't you just point at stuff and say, "Wow, look"? What really got me was that my mother-in-law had originally said that the Disney cruise idea had been my sister-in-law's, but that they had cancelled it because they wanted to wait until their son was older. Now, suddenly, he was too young for any boat, and they were looking for some other option. And then, out of the blue, my sister-in-law wants us all to fly to North Carolina? It was clear to me that this had never been about the kid at all, it was just about her not getting her way. I wanted to respond and ask her what activities there were in North Carolina that would be so great for her son, but I knew the answer already. It was just a power play, and I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction. Later that evening, my mother-in-law texted again, asking if we could do a 3-day Disney cruise to the Caribbean instead, to see how our nephew would handle cruise ships. But by that point, we were all just done with the whole thing, and no one even bothered to respond. And just like that, the family cruise was officially cancelled. I'm still not sure what the final outcome will be, or if we'll ever manage to plan a family vacation that everyone can enjoy. But one thing is for sure, I'm relieved to be out of the drama, at least for now. Was I right to call out my mother-in-law's behavior and stand up for what my husband and I wanted, or should I have just gone along with the plan to keep the peace?
If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Drop your verdict in the comments below, subscribe for new stories every single day, and hit the notification bell so you never miss one.